Hi, I'm Josh. I've been a filmmaker, storyteller, content creator for the better part of 5 years now. 3.5 of that full time, 1.5 of that still like learning and developing and becoming a creative. And so I thought it'd be a nice trip for me down memory lane to look over the past 5 years and come up with a little tip, a little thing I learned, one for each year. And honestly, I wish I could have told myself some of these things 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I feel like I probably would have improved my craft faster. I would have been less hard on myself, and I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more, especially in those first couple early years. And so we're gonna walk through each one of these to apply to your creative field and whatever it might be as a content creator, okay? And I think, you know, we got a bit of a space here. I think we can fix that. I've got one bonus one that will stick here. Perfect. It'll stay. Hopefully, I've tested this a couple times. A little bonus one we'll talk about at the end. Okay, let's jump into year number 1. You're just starting to become a content creator. Congratulations, first off. Here's one of the biggest things I learned. Yeah. Make mistakes, okay? Make them, but never twice. What do I mean by that? Man, especially in your first year, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. I know for me, didn't hit record. I am recording. Didn't hit record on my auto recorder probably a few times. There was one big one where I was shooting for a client and they were going on a business trip the next day. And the video I shot for them, they were roughly out of focus for all of it. I honestly don't know what setting I hit in my camera to make that happen, but yeah, they were out of focus for the majority of it. And so you're gonna make mistakes and that's okay. And the other thing that I think is really important about making mistakes, you can find some real confidence in making mistakes. What do I mean? Right now, when I come up with an idea after 5 years of experience, I think through all the little issues and challenges and nuances that will come in that project. In my first year, you don't know what you don't know. You have the freedom to just come up with an idea and try it. You can't think through all the things that we think about now who have been in the game a little bit longer. And that's such a sense of freedom to just be able to go build and try things. And I would encourage you, make mistakes. Like if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not reaching or trying enough things in your creative field. All right, number 2 or year number 2. Yeah, this is a big one. I think for me, if I would have done this, I would have improved faster. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by watch content differently? I think for a lot of us, especially in my second year, and it was kind of coming out of COVID, I was watching so many different YouTubers, Peter McKinnon, Matty Hapoya, Sam Newton, Danny Gewurz, just to list a couple. And I was just intaking content, but I felt like I was doing so in a real passive way. What I mean to watch it differently is to intake it with intent. So when I'm watching some of their content, I'm trying to think of why I like what I'm watching. Maybe it's how do they transition between those shots? When are they playing music and what kind of music are they playing? Maybe it's composition, maybe it's lighting. I don't know, there's any number of things you could learn from watching content and taking it in with intent. You're not sitting there on your couch passively watching it. You are maybe sitting at your desk, writing notes and keeping track of what you're learning throughout that video. And even outside of the more tutorial content, even just regular stuff they post, if you like it, ask the question why. What is it and why is it that you like this piece of content, and start to apply that to yourself. I feel if I would have done this more in my second year, I probably would have improved way faster than I did in my current iteration of filmmaking. Okay, let's look at year number 3, what I learned in that year. Yeah, this is a big one. We need to find community. This one is critical for 2 main reasons. I think this is critical. 1, this job as a content creator, hi Sarge, thank you for saying hi during the video. This job as a content creator is a pretty lonely one. Whether you're in front of the camera, whether you're editing by yourself, posting by yourself, I probably spent, I don't know, a good hour and a bit this morning building these envelopes and drawing all my stuff out by myself. And I think finding community helps make that feel less like a silo and more like you're part of something bigger, especially in this content creation world. You don't really want to do this alone. And so speaking of community, of making it, of finding people who do something like you, I think I'm gonna give my buddy Mark a call. He shoots for the Edmonton Oilers. He's co-owner of Cobra Creative, and I think he'd be a really cool guy to talk through and even ask him a little piece of advice that he has. So yeah, let me give Mark a call real quick. Mark, my guy, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
Good, dude, good. Okay, dude, thanks for hopping on the call real quick. We're on the set, doing some tips here. Everything's looking fun.
Go, baby.
Man, pretty easy question. give your little advice you give yourself when you first kind of started this whole thing?
Man, start sooner than you think.
Yeah.
And do it before you're ready. And I think motion is when you learn, when you take action, and getting uncomfortable and realizing that you'll never be where you think you want to be. You'll never be fully ready. And then having good people to bounce ideas off, ask tons of questions. But I think the biggest thing is just doing it.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Start way before you think you're ready. And the feedback you get from taking action early and making mistakes, which are just lessons, really, that feedback, you can iterate so much faster and you'll just progress so much quicker. And so that idea you've been sitting on, or that project you've been thinking about for too long, like the sooner you start it, the more feedback you'll get, and the sooner it'll become what you want it to be. So that's what I would say.
Man, that's so good. Funnily enough, that's like number 1 and 2 on this list. You heckin' killed it, dude. That was great.
There you go.
That was good, man. Thanks for hopping on the call, Mark. We'll have you say hi to the camera. Everyone can do a little wave to Mark in the comments. So, but anyways, thanks, my dude. I appreciate it. I'll.
Yeah, likewise, dude. Okay, buddy. We'll see you.
Okay, buddy. Bye. Oh, that was great. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that, man. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about in finding community is something that goes back to a book I read this past year, and to go behind my thing more often. It's a book called Creativity Inc. One of the co-founders at Camel writes about what they did to essentially build this really kind of creative empire and how they ran things. And the biggest thing I learned from in here was this thing they call a brain trust. And in that, they talk about how when a director's making a movie, usually you come to points where you need help, you need assistance. And so they would bring in a whole bunch of different kinds of people to come sit in a room and help provide feedback and advice and ideas for that film. Now, while that totally can work, they ran into some issues. And something that they came up with, that Ed and a group of people came up with, was that they actually were going to make a room full of directors, of other people in the company, other directors working on films to help give feedback to the current director working on the film experiencing problems. Why does that work? Well, I think the biggest reason why that works and why it's great to find community is you have people who do what you do. They understand the effort and time and work that goes into us creating content. If you ask other random people, they don't fully grasp what goes into making videos, what goes into titling and scripting and thumbnails and all these other things, but people who are in that world do. So I find it a lot easier when I have a community who understand what I build and how I build it, and when they give me feedback, it's so much easier to take to heart and actually go, yes, I agree with that. That's something I can expand on and improve on. So find community, both for support, so we're not so alone doing this thing, and 2, so you can get actual valuable feedback. And so, man, shout out to Mark again for hopping on the video and taking the call to answer that. That'd be great. So let's hop to year 4. I can't get, this one's always a tricky one. Oh, yes. Your style. If I can get the focus, you can do this, camera. So close. There we go. Your style. Your style. Man, what do I mean by that? I think your style comes with time. I'm in my 5th year and I still feel like I'm kind of working through what my style is going to be. And so I'd encourage you, don't feel rushed to find your style. I think especially in this world of AI and video and all this kind of stuff, and AI slop, whatever you want to call it, take your time, breathe, enjoy the process. Even in my 5th year, I feel like I'm really leaning into kind of more emotional, story-driven, I feel like I have good taste in music. I have a good taste in design after these past 5 years. I'm not a kind of guy who makes huge transitions. There's lots of great content creators that do, but I kind of enjoy the subtleness of it. And it's just something that I enjoy to build. And that's been 4 to 5 years of process. So take your time with your style. Don't rush it. Totally in the first few years, try out other people's, see what other people's feel like, but your style will come with time. Trust it, trust the process. It'll happen. Okay, number 5, 5th year, this year. This is a big one. Never stop learning. Yeah, there it is. Never stop learning. This has been huge for me this past year. Honestly, I feel like I was working on so many cool projects over the past half year or so, but I feel like my spark, the whole reason why I kind of got into filmmaking, felt like it was just dwindling to nothing. And something that really has sparked that again is to learn new things. I feel like I kind of got in this bubble of comfortableness. Probably not a word, but I was good at what I did, and I didn't feel like I should expand past that. I didn't really want to try new things. I knew what I was making, how to make it, and how to make it good. So why try other things? But I feel like my inspiration, my excitement for this craft was just failing. And so this past few months even, I've gone back to, I think it's important I have a journal that I, write notes in, and I watch, I found a couple other content creators now that I really like their work and I really like what they stand for, and I'm learning again. I'm excited to learn and try these new things, maybe some VFX work or some better sound design, right? That's something I've really never expanded on. And I think if you never stop learning, you'll always continue to enjoy the craft you're working on, regardless of what creative field it is. And so for my 5th year, this year, never stop learning has been huge, especially these past few months. And so, yeah, never stop learning. Okay, bonus envelope time. And this one comes off the wall because I taped the other ones way better. Bonus. Yes. Shout this to the rafters. People care less than you think. This is so true for 2 kind of main points that I was thinking of. People don't care what you edit in. People don't care what you shoot on. Like, none of that matters, especially in your first few years. It doesn't. If you have a phone, or if you have an old DSLR, or you're editing in Final Cut or Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, none of that matters. Never once, even in my 5 years, has anyone come to me and go, hey, that video you made, Josh, what did you edit it in? Or what did you shoot it on? And if I think the only one that's even come close is probably the what have you shot it on? And that's because there was another filmmaker going, hey, what lens choice did you have for that scene? Not like, oh, you shot on Sony? I'm a Canon fan. I'm not gonna shoot with that. Like, especially if you're looking to buy a camera, do whatever works within your budget. Maybe for the first little while, you gotta use your phone, and DaVinci Resolve is free. That's great. I would just push you towards that. Maybe you really want to start working with cameras. I can guarantee you somebody has an old DSLR. I don't know when this happened, but it seems like your dad or grandpa or cousin or auntie, somebody has a DSLR. It's usually like a Canon something. Try it, shoot a video. Who cares if it's 720p or 1080? It doesn't matter. You're getting practice on it. Nobody cares if it tells good story. You're doing your job. And so people care less than you think. I would just encourage you to continue to do that. And even now in my 5th year, something I'm trying to apply is, man, I have a nice, A7S III Sony camera, but I watched this video on a YouTube channel called Frameset where this director, this DP, shot using an Xbox Live camera. I would have never thought of that in my life. And then with another plug-in into their computer, they generated this really cool looking footage. So nobody cares what you shoot on. It all depends on what your final product wants to be. So I encourage you, don't be afraid about making mistakes, watch content differently, find community, take time on your style, and never stop learning. And I think if you apply those 5 things to your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd year, you will be far better off than I ever was. But this was fun to kind of go down memory lane and chat through some of the things I learned over the past 5 years. So if you have any questions, anything you want to comment them down below. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year. We're at 811 right now, so I'd appreciate if you subscribe and hit the like button and share with some people. Maybe you have a, content creator friend that you want to send this off to, tell them they're not alone and we're doing this all together and we can enjoy that. I think the word of the video, if you've made it this far, comment spring, because it's still snowing outside and it is currently April 24th. Spring, please fight back. I am so over this. That's all I have for this. Hopefully you learned something and you can apply it to what you're working on right now in whatever year you find yourself in. Great. Hey, I hope you have a great week. Keep working on things, keep learning, and I'll see you next week. Bye.